So guys, I've been making a lot of horrible financial decisions lately. Things that I'm not proud of and I don't feel good about. So as I was clearing off my laptop, because it's running out of all the memory, and it's like, I need more memory, or either buy a new one of me. It's really begging me to make another financial money move, but I don't have time for that right now. So I'm like, let me just try to clear off whatever I may have missed, because I've been cleared off all the things on this laptop, but sometimes I keep files on that I'm about to work with, right? And then perhaps I never get to work with it, which is the case that you're about to see right now. So as I was clearing off, I found this clip, this video from back when I used to make great money decisions. I remember that girl. I remember that girl in this video. So I want to share this moment in time that I had planned on sharing with y'all, but I never got around to. I want to share it with y'all now because it makes me feel better about myself, and it makes me know and remember that I can make wise decisions, and the mistake that I made this week does not define me. It's not who I am. It's not who I am. They caught me slipping, and just know that any one of us can be caught slipping at any time. That's why we have to keep our mind in the company of money makers, movers, and shakers. Okay, so let's talk about this. When I refinanced my house, here we go.
Hey, Miss Davis, I actually got your voicemail, and I actually looked through the paperwork. It looks like both your monthly payment and your loan balance are lower than what the loan estimate was. So I'm just trying to figure out what you found wrong with the paperwork.
Okay, so this is what I found wrong. I currently owe $320,426.05 on my loan. It's recorded here that I owe $21,520, a whole almost $1,100 more than what I owe. So I don't understand like where that came from. The 321.
Where are you seeing that, may I ask?
On my statement.
On your statement? Okay,
my statement
so
shows
you're not looking at the closing disclosure, are you?
No. The closing disclosure says $321,520.
The closing disclosure? I'm looking at it right now. It says $327.26 and 27 cents.
Okay, I don't know. Well, even then it's still too high because I owe $324.26 on the house.
You owe $324.26?
Yeah, $320,426.05 is the principal that I owe on the house.
Okay. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get you over to our escalations department, just so we can get that fixed for you.
And then let me ask you another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so it looked like with the closing costs looked more than what it was before. So it was like $5,769 more. Well, $5,000. Yeah, so that.
It's because, did you look at Section G of other costs? It's just the initial escrow payment at closing. Obviously we already have your escrow information, so it says that, $219.62 for 6 months for your hazard insurance, and then, $16.53 for your property taxes. We already have your escrow information, so we don't have to do, we don't have to fulfill that escrow account as if you were going to a different company. So that doesn't really, apply to you in that situation. You'll notice that the closing costs are actually lower than what they were. And then obviously we're just going to swap your escrow account right over to, where it's at currently, just because.
Okay. So then I have another question. So on the forms, it gives me the option to decline escrow.
Yeah. So if you don't want to pay, your escrow through your mortgage, you absolutely don't have to. You can just pay your taxes straight to your local government and your hazard insurance payment straight to your hazard insurance company.
And that's what I want to do.
You absolutely could. That's what you do want to do?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, no problem whatsoever there. I'll tell you what I'll do. I will get you in contact with the escalations department. They'll be able to, iron out that. I think it was about $300 extra on the principal balance there, and then we can take care of the rest of your escrow. With them as well.
Okay, and that's weird because, like I said, when I looked on the things, I seen that 321,520. I'm not sure what page it's on because I'm in the car right now, so I'm not in front of a computer. But I seen 321,520. But either way, yeah, it should reflect 320,426.
Yeah, I was just saying. I was saying the 327.26. If you said 426, that's $300.
Yeah, and I don't want to give away.
It's not $10. It's exactly. Yeah, I understand that. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll shoot you over to, the escalations department now, just because I kind of deal with those problems that are out of my hands personally.
Okay.
They'll be able to help you out.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Whew. Okay, everybody. So as you can see by now, I am refinancing my home. I did refinance my home last March, around when the pandemic first started. I think I have not a clip, but some sort of eye in the sky about that process. That was cool because I was in Florida and they actually came out to Florida to close the deal, and that was what it was. At that point, I had refinanced to 2.75% interest rate. Now I'm doing it to 2.25% interest rate. And this loan is costing me about $4,000 is the price of the loan. I already went over the numbers, and I'm going to do this. This will bring my payment down. And again, we might have to re-talk about this when I get the final numbers, but it should bring my payment down about $225 a month, right? The way I always do my refinancing is whatever my payment is brought down by, that becomes my new personal standard of my minimum payment. So the first time I believe it was brought down about $600. And now we're going to add another $225. So that's going to be like about $825 minimum that I add extra to my payment, because it's not so much that I'm trying to save money on my payment. It's so much so that I'm trying to apply more of that payment towards principal than towards the interest. Okay. So as you guys heard on the phone, I had some questions because I got my final papers today. And I'm like, this ain't adding up. Now that I know what I know about finances, I do try to read everything. And I think also, I want to say, I think, guys, the secret to this game, this living game on this planet, is to not overwhelm yourself. And sometimes when you don't know what you don't know, too much information can be so freaking overwhelming. But as long as you have the basis of a thing, I think you'll be all right. You will be all right. I know I am. I've always been all right. And so the more I learn, the more I try to share, and the more I also try to learn so that I can share more. So I did read over these documents, and then that's when I discovered what I felt was a discrepancy in what they were saying in my principal payoff payment was. Now, I did talk to another agent after this, and that wasn't recorded because I was actually back in the office. But I did talk to another agent who was able to break it down in smaller bite-sized pieces so that I understood what was happening. So while I was saying that my payoff was about where I stood now, if you look at my bank account, or if you look at my account information, it's $320,500 roughly. And I didn't understand how they were saying it was $321,000, almost like $1,100 more. So it was like $321,500, let's say. I didn't understand where they was pulling that number from. And so she explained to me what it was. What it is from the last date that I made my payment, which was like around the 15th of May, and all of the interest that is accruing between the 15th of May and the 14th of June. So basically, they're banking that I get this closing done before June 14th, right? So that's where that extra $1,100 was coming from. I was like, okay, that makes sense, y'all. Interest be accruing. And so she had said, like, let's say, like, if I close before then, and so on and so forth, that total period of 14 days in June may not apply towards the interest accrual rate. And if that is the case, they then cut me a check of the difference. And I have received that before in the past when I refinance. It's like, oh, I got this check. And sometimes you think of it as free money, or you kind of know it came from that it came from refinancing, but you don't know exactly where it came from in the refinance process. So now it's like I understand where it's coming from. It's that money that they overcharged you just to kind of keep a cushion, so that if you refinance, or if you finally complete all your paperwork before that date, they don't have to go in and refigure out numbers. They already have a cushion in there, and then they're going to pay you that back, whatever wasn't accrued in interest. And so that made sense. I'm like, okay, I can rock with that. Now, the other part that I noticed on my paperwork is the part where it said escrow, and it had the checkbox saying I was agreeing for the bank to pull escrow for me. And then it had another checkbox, but it wasn't checked. So they checked the checkbox that said I'm agreeing for the bank to do escrow. Then they had another box that said I'm agreeing to pay my escrow myself, and I'm opting out of it. In so many words, I'll put the exact language here, right? But I was like, wait a minute, because I know when I talk to these refinance people, I ask them if I can do my own escrow. I don't want my escrow to be included in my mortgage. And the guy was like, oh no, we can't do it because it's a VA loan, and VA requires escrow to be carried. So I was like, okay. But when I got the paper and I'd seen on the contract, it said that, and it did not have any small fine print that spoke specifically to VA. What I was going to do was ask to see the paperwork, to see the quote, to see the law, the whatever it is that said that I had to have them to do my escrow. So anyways, I talked to the young lady, and she was like, oh, you don't want us to do escrow? I said, no, I want to pay my escrow myself. I want to opt out of escrow. And she says, okay. And so she filled out whatever she had to fill out on her end to go ahead and resubmit it to underwriting. So that's where we're at now. We're waiting for underwriting to give me back my latest and greatest updated paperwork. And hopefully nothing is found that says, oh no, she has to have it because of this, that, and the other. So hopefully the numbers are reworked out. And then that also means that, I'll talk about this later, but let me just say it now for a benchmark. The fact is, I feel like when they're pulling escrow, they actually have you finance more. So when we look at the fact that I'm financing about $326,000, some of that is the money that they're saying they have to pull for escrow. Well, if you have to pull it for escrow, why are you adding it to the principal of my home and having me finance it, right? So that's a big question, and that's another reason why I want to handle my own escrow. And another reason why I want to handle my own escrow is because I want to pay it using my credit cards and getting the points for it, and then turn around and paying that off with cash, because I have the cash and I save the cash, and I will save my cash the same way they save my cash in my own accounts. So it's no biggie for me. And plus, because escrow, for those of you who don't know, here in Virginia is them putting away money for your insurance, which I use the same insurance company that I use for my car insurance, so I can pay that myself. And it's also them putting away money for your taxes. Every 6 months, the city sends me my tax statement anyway. So the same way they send me my tax statement and I can feel free to go ahead and pay it, I don't need a third party to pay those things for me when I can take advantage of that in the name of points. And so that's why I'm going in that direction. But like I said, when we get the final paperwork, we'll go over the numbers together, guys. And I will show you all what I know and what I know it all to mean. And I don't know everything. I don't know everything. Nor do I want to know everything. There's a lot to know about everything, y'all. This is a whole big world with a whole lot of stuff going on. And it is too much to be trying to be the subject matter expert on everything. But I know enough to get the job done. And then I also know how this universe works, and how at the end of the day I am so protected, I am so loved, and it is all right. It is all right. Yeah.